Welcome back to This Week in College Football. Our co-host this week, Andy Deason.
Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, Andy. There's been we sit here and try to plan out shows what we're going to talk about week to week, and then it seems like there's always something that comes up right at the last minute and throws a wrench into our plans.
Hey, but that's good.
Yeah, this week it was the rule changes that's come up, and I think everybody's pretty much in agreement with the targeting rule.
Yes.
That's something that I think should have been changed last year.
Yes, and like you said, somebody that doesn't play football probably made that rule.
Yeah. I mean, anybody with any sense should have known if they review it and they see that it's not targeting.
Take the penalty
away, which is what the rule's supposed to do this time, is take the penalty away.
Exactly, and I don't know how many teams were affected by that last year. I mean, I know probably every team in SEC, probably every team all over.
I know personally, I saw two calls. One of them was against a boy from Navy, strong safety for Navy, got thrown out of the game, and it was a questionable. Even after they reviewed it, they upheld it, but it was questionable in my book. And
I'm old school, and it's hard for a football player to hold back.
Well, I mean
they're not doing it on purpose, and if they do it on purpose, you can tell it.
I know they're trying to protect the players and everything, which is good, but a running back runs up through the hole, meets a middle linebacker. What does he do? He ducks his head.
I mean, keep his chest from getting crushed.
And they say it's for this, the receivers or the quarterbacks, this defenseless player. Well, and I was at an Auburn game last year, as Auburn-Washington State game, and Chris Frost, the middle linebacker, was rushing the quarterback, and the quarterback just threw the ball at the last second, and he shoved him. Well, when he started to shove at him, the guy ducked. The quarterback did, and he pushed him on the side of his head. He got ejected.
And he was trying to keep from hurting him.
He was trying to hold up,
yes.
but he got ejected. And the kid from Navy, who will probably be playing on Sundays, probably the first player from Navy since Roger Staubach, but it was a good clean hit. The kid led with his shoulder, hit shoulder pad to shoulder pad, but the guy's head popped back, so he got ejected. And
that was overturned though, as targeting, wasn't it?
No, he got ejected. They went ahead and called it.
Okay.
And after review, and they threw him out of the game. But from the review of it, I mean, he nothing from the kid's head hit. They didn't hit heads. But that's just like it was at the Texas A&M game when Clinton Dix from Alabama hit the kid, and they did overturn that, but he still got the 15-yard penalty.
And that hurt right there. I mean, if you're not going to target him, if you're not going to get him for targeting, take the penalty away. That's the best rule. I mean, that's good.
There was a game, I don't know, I can't remember who it was playing, where that rule, the 15-yard penalty, did have an effect on the ball game, and the team that got the penalty wound up winning because of the penalty. Put them in field goal range, and they won.
That's where it's wrong. That's where it's wrong. So I'm glad somebody stepped up, and I hope that's implemented this year.
Yeah. All this is supposed to be voted on March the 6th.
Okay.
So, and the other rule that's caused the most controversy here in the South is the Saban rules. Everybody's calling it the player safety, giving the defense 10 seconds to
get people out there and adjust. And I'm against it. I mean, I'm old school, and you just got to learn how to defense against that. And we do have a Lane Kiffin down here, so we're going to be running some West Coast speed offense. But you just got to learn how to defense it.
Well, my problem with it is he's saying that it's for safety reasons, that the offense is going running 80 plays gives you more chance for your defensive players to get hurt. Well, there's the offense is out there running 80 plays.
Exactly. I mean, it works both ways, and they haven't been able to prove that. I mean, that's an assumption. They assume that's going to be, but until it's proven, I don't like that rule.
Well, even he's saying that they don't have, and not just Saban. Arkansas head coach Brett Bielema was saying the same thing. And the offense, if they don't sub, they've got the same players
exactly.
And the rule now is if the offense subs, if you notice, the referee stands over the ball to give the defense time to sub.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see the point in it. And
I don't want that rule changed. I don't want that to.
Well, another thing is they've taken the last 2 minutes of each half. That rule doesn't apply.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Well, does that mean that you're? What's the difference?
Wide open, and you just got to be ready for that because it works both ways. I mean,
Well, in the last 2 minutes, just say we'll just take Alabama and say they call timeout and they put in 11 5-star recruits right there in the last 2 minutes, and nobody else in the country has 5-star recruits. This was something that one of the listeners to the show brought up on our Facebook page. Just say that Alabama subs in 11 5-star recruits because they've got them in Alabama. Is that fair because the other team doesn't have 5-star recruits to put in at the last 2 minutes? Whose fault is that? That's the other team. It's not Alabama's fault they've got 5-star recruits. Well, so what they're saying is, if you're going to use this as a safety regulation, should you not have to limit the number of 5-star recruits you have on your team?
Well, what it is a lot of it is nobody knows who's got that ball sometimes. They want to slow that thing down. But as far as the health thing, I don't believe that. I mean, it works both ways for both teams, and they haven't been able to prove that. Like Gus Malzahn said that. He said, you say it's health issues, but nobody's been hurt because of that.
No.
So you just can't assume and make that a rule under, and I'm a Saban fan, but I don't like that.
Well, I guess they could do like Auburn did. If they got tired, just have one of their players fall down and act like he's hurt. They did that against Arkansas. And I'm an Auburn fan, but that was kind of
that was blatant.
That was blatantly obvious that he was not hurt.
Slow that game down a little bit. But I mean, we're in a fast pace, and like we were talking earlier, the recruiting, you can't hardly do it this year because these teams are recruiting smaller, faster players to run this wide open offense. So you change it right now, and you got a bunch of teams with a bunch of small players.
Yeah,
and you almost have to change your recruiting tactics.
And it's going to take you at least 2 years, maybe 4, to get that
offense
your other
back.
Players in there,
and then you can switch them back up. But you're going to have to, go back to bigger ball players, bigger blockers. Maybe take some of those that were doing the blocking on the line for the field goal.
Yeah,
we could get rid of some of those. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it's back to conditioning too. If the offense. If you've got, just take Auburn's offensive line. They average 300 pounds. Well, these guys run that offense all year long.
Yep.
And ran it against everybody. And they stayed.
It didn't affect them.
The offensive line did not sub at all during the year. Maybe once or twice. But then you have Alabama and LSU and Arkansas, these teams that recruit these big 5-star defensive linemen that can play 4 or 5 plays in a row, and then they're done until they get a break.
Exactly. You might need to go about 50, 70 pounds lighter, go with a smaller man that can last a little bit longer. But I don't know what the answer is, but I don't think they ought to be changing that rule this year. And
another thing that's in the news that's really a joke around here, it's a big joke around here because of this rule change, is Nick Saban and one of his partners are opening up a car lot in Irondale, the BMW car lot, and they're being sued from Crown Automotive in Birmingham, saying it's not fair for some reason, but Saban's cars are going to come with a 10-second delay. It's a safety issue for the cars.
And then they get 1 second to get ready. I love it.
The world of college football never stops.
Well, a friend of mine last night on the telephone, he and I were talking about the show, and he still is under this. He's bad-mouthing Saban. He's bad-mouthing Alabama about losing that game. He says that Saban threw it. And I tried to tell him, I said, look, as good as Saban is, I said, we're not going to win every game. I said, I tried to tell people this year, I said, the more games we play, the chances of getting beat grow higher. And I said, and if somebody's going to do it, it's usually going to come at Auburn. They got all year long to get ready for us. We went down there. But I told the fella, I said, you're not an Alabama fan. I said, you're a whiny baby. And I said, I'm a big fan. I hated getting beat. But shoot, tomorrow's another day. And I said, let's get ready for next year.
Well, Nick Saban, anybody in the country that would sit here and tell you that he's not the best coach in the country, I think he's the best coach in the country.
I do too.
If you don't think he's the best, you obviously got to think he's in the top 5.
You've got to. Look what he's done. Look at the changes. And we had Mike Shula. For his first year, Saban went 7-6. Went up there, I believe he beat Oklahoma State in the bowl game to make us 7-6. But the next year, that thing changed. He implemented his system, And I said, it's all about, and I'm not comparing him to Bear Bryant, but Bear Bryant believed in these kids doing the right thing off the field as well as on the field. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing Saban says. And when you're doing that, and I like other coaches to do that, I said, I think Malzahn's got his program going in the right direction because he brought a 3-9 team, turned them around, made them believe. They fell for his system, and look what they did. And I said, and they're going to be back next year. I said, we're going to be back next year. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's a game of life.
And Saban too, his teams are always they're coached right down to the fundamentals of footwork on your back pedal when you're covering the receiver out on the ends.
Exactly.
And in that Auburn game, when they lined up to kick that field goal, if you notice, Ryan Smith was back by the field goal to return it in case it was short, and Auburn called a timeout. Well, when they called the timeout, they put their punt returner back there, Chris Davis. And that was a coaching. I don't know if Malzahn made that call or maybe it was
a great call he made.
The punting team coach's call, but that's the only time I've seen since Saban even when he was LSU that I've seen him get he was out coached on that one play.
He sure was.
And a lot of Alabama fans were for the next week after that game we're just dogging Nick Saban because
he's a human being, and really what a little bit of the controversy came because they couldn't figure out whether they had 1 second or they didn't have 1 second. And we were ready to go into overtime, but in the meantime, they gave us the second. Try the field goal. I mean, we had no idea. Nobody had any idea that this boy was going to run that thing back.
I mean, that's happened maybe once. I've seen it once in the NFL with Devin Hester at Chicago. He ran one back.
Yes, wasn't Hester no LSU boy?
No, he's from Miami.
Miami, that's right.
The Hester from LSU was the fullback.
Yes, strong boy.
Was it Craig Hester? I can't remember.
You're right there.
But that's a play, that Auburn, that return on that field goal, that's something you don't.
Well, I mean, how many times do you see a game-winning field goal turn into a game-losing touchdown?
How many times have you practiced that?
Yeah. That's what, I mean, you can't do it. You can't do it. And, I'm tired of Alabama fans still whining about it. I mean, good grief. Wake up. Let's get ready for next year and get over basketball season.
Oh, Lord. I'm glad we don't talk about basketball.
Amen.
There's not much to talk about in basketball.
No, that's a quick subject. Alabama got beat again. Okay, move on.
We're coming up on our first break. After the break, we're going to be talking about the 4-team playoff. And as I said in one of our first shows, if you've got any questions or anything you want us to talk about, go to our Facebook page, This Week in College Football, and leave us a comment, and we'll talk about it on the show.
And we appreciate your feedback.
Yeah, anything you can give us, anything you want us to talk about. And we talk about the SEC a lot, but we want to include everybody. So especially some of you people from the Big 10, Pac-12, Big 12, somewhere else.
Call us up.
Call us up. Leave us some
Raise some game with us.
Yeah, that's what the show's
State
all
your
about.
case.
So as soon as we come back after the break, we're going to talk about the 4-team playoff and the committee that's been chosen to select the 4 teams to play in the playoff. And anything else we can think of, so we'll be back.
Hello, I'm Robert McKay, Mayor of Asheville, Alabama, and candidate for House Seat 30, covering North St. Clair and Southern Etowah County. I would love to represent you in this district. I'm a pro-business, and I believe in small government and less taxes. I can relate to all the people. I am a small business owner, drive a bus for the St. Clair school system, and can relate to all the working men and women in this district. I'm a strong believer in education. Educated people will enrich our economy. I ask for your support in the June 3rd Republican primary. Please visit my Facebook page at robertmckay.33449 for more information. This is a paid political advertisement by friends of Robert McKay. Thank you.
Well, football season's over, and it's everybody's favorite season now. It's tax season. Hey, go by and see our friends Conan Smith, PC in Rainbow City, Alabama, for all your accounting needs, your corporate, partnership, individual income tax preparation, your monthly payroll, and accounting services. Go by and see them at 3421 Rainbow Parkway, Rainbow City, Alabama, or give them a call at 256-413-3057.
Mom, Dad, Recently, I asked a little girl, what's the most important thing in the world to your mommy? And she said, her phone. My mommy is always on her phone. You know what, Mom and Dad? There'll be a day you give anything in the world to have a conversation with your child. Let's work every day to show our children what's really most important.
For more insights from Big Oak Ranch founder John Croyle on strengthening the foundation of your family, visit bigoak.org/family.